Yo, I see the chat going crazy. Everyone's in here early. I saw submissions, and we're excited to get to them. Discord's going off. I don't know if it's because everyone's got some new stuff. Everyone's been cooking it up on the weekend, or because our next guest is a fucking crazy producer, man. This guy's been blowing our minds since 2000. Maybe 12, 13, I got hip to this guy. 14 maybe with Schlang and stuff like that, and a weird little trippy underground world and art that this man was curating, whether it be, with his weird live streams, his weird memes, and his even cooler shirt designs recently. I saw some pillows I want to sleep on. But you know what? Let me stop gassing this man up. Let him introduce himself to you. Let's wheel him on out, Mr. Supercilious. Everybody welcome him. Bam. What's up, my guy?
Hello.
How you doing, bro?
Doing all right.
Hey, well, thank you for being here, first and foremost. Seriously, it's been a long time coming. I think we've known each other or about each other for a long time, and our paths have gone...
Yeah, definitely almost 8-9 years at this point.
Dude, for real. My first show was actually opening for you.
Time, that's 1,000 years,
Yeah. No, dude, that's oof, man. The landscape has gotten different. The sound design has gotten different. And yeah, I'm actually just kind of remembering this now, though. But my first show was opening for you, and it was your side project.
Yeah.
It was Schlang. But it was that was...
It's come a long way from a abandoned movie theater in New Jersey.
Holy, bro. Damn, man. That's things have been a little bit rocky this past year, but you've kind of found your way, doing a whole bunch of different things, setting your name in people's minds in different ways with streetwear. So is your focus still on making tunes, crafting tunes, or are you just approaching it different?
As you can see, this definitely my laboratory is primarily for making music. But to be honest, music was not even my first creative endeavor or my first creative career. So when the pandemic hit, it was sort of well, it doesn't necessarily have to be my last one either. And before I was doing music, I was in film and TV and doing editing and writing comedy. So,
oh shit,
the transition to silly memery was way more natural than sort of it wasn't like a scramble. I need to find something else to do. It just sort of I was already, I've been making silly Photoshops. I've been Photoshopping stuff forever. So it just kind of eased. The transition was very smooth. And, at a time where people wanted to and needed to laugh more than ever. So it was sort of it didn't feel like the time to be hey, look at my serious art, something weird that was coming out in the, when quarantine first started. It's people still had all these releases that they wanted to put out. And they all had this kind of serious overtone, and I couldn't take it seriously because I thought the world was ending, and that's not that's not when I want to take your deep bass dungeon dubstep project with a serious face and a black t-shirt. It's just I don't need my attention is spread so thin. I just wanted to laugh at goofy shit, and humor is how I've always digested the world. It definitely comes through in my music. My music definitely has a bit of a silly vibe to it, obviously. But I take the craft and the art seriously. I just don't take life that seriously, because as we've seen, it can literally be flipped upside down and turned inside out that, and everybody becomes in the same boat. And I don't know, the transition into making actually making being able to make a living off of memes and silly shirts. Definitely that kind of took me by surprise, because I just wasn't expecting so much of a an overwhelming response in that regard. People just really wanted to like be a part of this, and they wanted to laugh, and they wanted to I couldn't believe that people were buying shirts that they can't wear anywhere, so like that was what was it was really that was blowing my mind. And like now that shows are starting to come back, and like I'm now like I'll get messages all the time, people like, yeah, I saw like 20 people at the show wearing your silly shit. Yeah, cool. So I can, my whole goal of pandemic was to, figure out how I can still entertain people without leaving the house.
Wow.
I have not terrible asthma, but I have pretty bad asthma sometimes. So like, a virus that attacks your lungs like scared the shit out of me. So I was sort of like, yeah, I'm gonna stay home for as long as it takes, and photoshopping silly stuff and being able to entertain people without having to leave my living room and being able to pay my rent with it at the same time was just like, it was kind of a dream come true in the sandwiched around this nightmare that we're all going through. So I'm very grateful for it, and I don't know. I just I always like to entertain people. I think that's kind of like, I don't like to say that's what I was born to do, but it's what I've done my whole life. If I started going into like a biography about myself, like when I was a child, like I used to be a professional yo-yoer, sponsored by Omega, and I literally traveled around the country. I went to national championships. I performed all over the place, and that transitioned into, being a magician, and I did magic at children's birthday parties for children who were barely like a year or two younger than I was. Super goofy. And then, then high school happened, and obviously that kind of stuff was cast aside in exchange for a social life and, learning stuff. And then I don't know, I went to college for film and TV, and I guess I've always just wanted to entertain people, and music and psychedelic music, where you can kind of like, you really can just do whatever you want. Once I learned that it's acceptable to play music off of a computer, I was like, oh, you can fucking do anything, because
it's a one-man band type situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'd been in bands in high school and whatnot, and I've always like made music on the computer, like just recorded my own stuff. And then all of a sudden this EDM craze kind of started picking up like around 2009, and I was like, wait a second, like this is acceptable. I don't have to put a full band together. I can just launch my tracks, and people not only won't question it, but will also have like an amazing time.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm going all in on this. This is just too much.
You kind of decompartmentalize that though.
Too much area to explore.
You kind of did the opposite too. You kind of worked in that realm too. I feel like you were the Life Band was one of the first bands to interpret electronic music.
The goal was always to get it out of the computer and back into a band. I was,
Ooh.
My first love was a guitar. So I've always played guitar and keys, and was when I started seeing acts like Crystal Method and Spangle, who started doing these tours where they would bring full live bands. I think it was maybe like 2008 or 2009. Someone showed me like a clip of Spangle live in Japan. I was like, wait, like, so this is how far you can really take, like, you can take it back out of the computer and really just like build your orchestra inside the box. And then if you have the patience and the discipline, you can find musicians and teach them. And luckily my path led me to the band Was Special, who are like some of my best friends in the world. And
they can interpret it.
After touring with them and seeing them enough times, I was just like, all right, these are the only guys in the world that I think can actually like nail my shit the way I imagine it. And they do.
They could interpret electronic music like no other band I've heard so far. Like the weird stuff too. It's not like the orchestra kind of stuff. It's like the bass, the weird synthesized bass. Like Luke will be smacking that shit. You're like, what the fuck?
I've been gassing them up for over a decade, being like, these guys are literally the best band alive, and like it's less and less of an exaggeration. Every time I see them, I'm like, nope, they pretty much could. They're kind of the best band,
dude.
Like it's simple as that.
Hell of a show, hell of a live show. Yeah. So wait, I got a couple questions from that whole biography. No, I'm into it. I like it, but before I forget, I was just like, did you have a magician name? Did you have a magician name or like a stage name for?
I didn't.
Oh no.
I think I was too young to have that kind of ego, I guess. I definitely had a costume. I definitely had like uniforms and shit that I would wear when I would do yo-yo gigs.
I was thinking magician gigs. You're talking about yo-yo gigs. What were you dressing up
definitely
as?
Both.
Nice.
They were those two things kind of happened around the same time. So it was like between 10 and 13 years old. So it's a little bit of a blur.
Damn, man. So like, what brought on?
As soon as I started smoking weed, all that kind of stuff,
becomes like less cool, I guess. Or you ever think about coming back to that, like magician on stage?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I still practice at home all the time.
Really? Both?
Yeah.
Magic?
Yeah, sometimes, like, every once in a while when I mention magic, if somebody has a deck of cards, they'll ask me to do something, and I'm my performance and my patter is probably out of touch, but the manual dexterity and the skill and the sleight of hand and that kind of stuff, it's kind of like riding a bike. The same thing with the yo-yo. I have a few here I play with when I'm I'm bored.
Damn, you just keep up these talents, huh? Like a Renaissance man. I think that's what they call someone like you.
Yeah, but it's nice to have talents and hobbies that I have no interest in commodifying, because I've spent so much time and energy commodifying my music and my comedy. So it's like recently I've learned to like really love cooking, because it's one of the areas where I get to be extremely creative for nobody else except me and whoever's eating with me.
Oh shit.
It's not about like, I don't take pictures, I don't show any, it's like it's just for me and my partner and our tummies.
Oh. No, that's fire though, because you saying the whole thing about not you're not making your art, even though that's had a silly approach to it, hence the name, even Supercilious. It's like you have a very relaxed aura about you and like not uptight, but your production value and quality is of somebody who would be like a music snob. And I saw you post the other day.
I am that too.
But it's not pretentious. The attitude towards the music and maybe the industry. Maybe I don't know what your attitude towards the industry is, but it doesn't come off as like my music is so much big header.
If you read the things that I'm knowing how I like sound and act in real life, you would definitely think I'm a snob and maybe an asshole. I don't know. I talk a lot of shit. I'm not even going to pretend that I don't. But yeah, I've been very much about like doing my own thing, and I've always been kind of like, I guess like there are lots of things about the music industry, and especially the electronic music industry, that like I have a lot of salt for, but I have it with a smile on my face, and I think that keeps me grounded a little bit. Like none of it's my enemy, because anything I don't like, I just hope that people will eventually figure out that it's either just like not good for them, or they're not my audience, and I don't have to waste my time on that to begin with.
Yeah. Did that come with like a long time in this in the game? Did that come with this year of having to kind of not participate in this popularity contest or whatever, or is that always been kind of your head down mentality?
It came a lot earlier when, like my gateway to electronic music was like IDM and trip hop. And so like when I first got a, copy of Reason when I was 17, like I really had it in my head that I could, try to be the next Square Pusher or the next Aphex Twin. And that very quickly revealed itself to be completely impossible. And so I was like, okay, just do your own thing, and the more you do something without the, influences are gonna influence no matter how hard you try and push them away. So I kind of just like let that happen naturally. And it's always been about trying to like do my own thing and have my own sound and find my own voice. Cause like one of the things I am salty about in electronic music, and unfortunately in psychedelic electronic music, is that there is a bit of a homogeneousness to the sound palettes. And like if you listen to enough of it, you can hear like the same kind of, not just even the same rhythms, but the same kind of sound design and the same kind of synths and the same kind of drum patterns. And like the idea, like dubstep kind of blew my mind, like that there, in many good and many bad ways, where like I didn't realize that like it was, again, acceptable for people to play an entire set that was only one tempo with the snare hitting the 3 every single track. And like that to me, I don't like that, so I don't do it. I mean I like there's good dubstep, and I like good dub and good dubstep, but I don't need to hear the same track for an hour and a half.
100%. Yeah. You like some eclecticness,
Yeah, it like you can do anything you want with the computer, and you can if you're good enough at DJing, you can mix into whatever.
Absolutely. And what you're saying actually goes with like what's your point? Like the same thing that you don't like the monotonous tone.
Yeah, like so much of it,
It's the same thing. It's the same. They follow the same rules instead of breaking them almost.
When you have like your camps where like, you have like, the dozen or so guys at the top, and then you have, these 500 people are all trying to sound like this one, and these 500 people are all trying to sound like this one. And, it's how festivals get put together. And it's why like, but it's ultimately good because it does rinse the sound quickly, so that it kind of forces people to innovate. But it's something that I've never felt like I had to chase. And whether or not that like has affected my ability to be more widely received, it's probably affected that negatively, because when I put out tracks that are in 7/8 time signature with changing tempo automations, dubstep DJs are not going to play that shit. It's my music rarely gets DJ'd by other DJs, because it's not easy to DJ, and it unless you're playing an intentionally eclectic set, it's gonna sound odd in a set, like if you're trying to play a set of all one genre.
Definitely. But did seeing or hearing that your streetwear and your clothes and stuff like were at these clubs, did that make you feel as good as if your track were to get played? Like I know that's not the thing you're chasing too, but you kind of have an outlet.
I honestly get way more joy out of that.
So you do have an outlet to kind of have like something that's widespread, like maybe something that's a little less niche, like your music, and you have more pride in kind of keeping it OG.
Is widespread, that everybody can laugh, but like, most of my shirts even are for nobody. It's like like a lot of the success of my shirts is that like I just put out like so much content. I've released like almost 300 shirts in the shirt designs in the past year. Damn. And so like some of them I'll only sell like 3 or 4, but they'll get sold instantly, because those 3 or 4 people are like, oh my God, that's the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Okay.
And then they'll wear it out in public, and maybe only 1 or 2 people would be like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And you're like, that's,
Yeah.
that's how you create, you create more, I think, stronger connections with niche stuff.
Yeah.
Yeti once told me, he said niches is riches. And it's like, you really can like find, if with along the lines of the homogenization, like electronic music is quote unquote easy to make in terms of like, you don't need $1 million studio anymore. You don't necessarily need all these instruments. So like anybody can make it. So you have this expendability problem where you have to it's your job to figure out why a promoter should book you versus one of the millions of other people that make electronic music.
Very true.
40,000 tracks go live on Spotify every single day. So your job is not just to make good music, but your job is to convince people to listen to you out of the 1.5 million songs that get launched on Spotify every month. That's a whole different puzzle. And like, there's nothing to, there's 20 million artists on Spotify. Like if I want people to listen to me, I have to make stuff that nobody else is making so that they can't get it from somebody else. If you make stuff that only you can make, people, they can't get it from anyone else. They have to come to you.
Definitely. And is that what the new album is?
The way that like kind of alienates me from, a lot of communities, but like it's a small price to pay.
Yeah. And for what? For now? Like, you're like, that's just looking at the microscope of it right now, like you not being invited to the festivals or lineups or whatever record labels. But I mean,
I'm not reaching out either. I'm sticking. I made a point to take this year off.
Yeah, I mean, not you in particular, but like, just
okay.
you, any niche artist, anybody who feels like, they don't fit in with that.
That's like that's what I try and like remind people who are doing their own thing is like, it's lonely being the only person who does what you do, but like, you find I've met the most incredible, people in the world through making weird music, and we all make our own weird art, and I have I have no issue with the way the industry runs in that regard,
Yeah. I mean, it's what about like city wise, because you're East Coast. Well, at least that's where I met you. You were living in, I guess, Boston. Were you always from?
I grew up in Los Angeles.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I lived there till I was 18, and that's where a lot of the entertainment kind of stuff was, ingrained into me. They say, I think it was George Carlin who said something like, when you're born into the world, you're given a ticket to the freak show, but when you're born in America, you're given a front row seat. I think sometimes if you're born in Los Angeles, you very well might be the freak show.
Dude.
So I feel that a lot. So I moved to Boston. I went to school in Boston and then moved to New York, lived there for about 3 years, and then moved to Denver.
Oh, damn. So
and now I live in the woods in Vermont.
Oh, really?
The exact opposite of everywhere that I've ever lived, and I'm very happy.
I thought you were still in Denver, honestly. I was going to ask you, like,
I was living in a crazy, awesome artist warehouse with, 10 to 12 other people, and once COVID hit, it was like, all right, 10 roommates, 1 kitchen. This is not going to work.
Hell no. That's crazy.
Got rid of everything that wasn't clothing or music gear and packed up the car, and me and Katie drove east.
Damn, man. Oh, so that's awesome. So has that like had any effect on your maybe music output or art output in general? Like, has it been, kind of the seclusion helped, or because Denver's kind of like a hot spot for it? Was that kind of, how was it when you were out there compared to
the place we lived in was definitely like the most inspiring.
that's the gifted sub notification. Gotta turn that down.
That's awesome.
Thank you,
all your effects, the overlays, and the scenes is very, very pro. I like it a lot.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It means a lot.
Step my game up.
Hey, sure. You're doing something that I've never seen either, man. You're riding a fucking bike playing Mario Kart. That's. I don't even know how you hooked that up.
Yeah, I need to get back. I'm gonna start doing that again this week. I had to take a few weeks off to take care of myself, but
Fuck it.
Um, it's definitely a lot, definitely a lot of fun.
Watch out, Rainbow Road.
And you know what? It's like I played so much just like against the computer, and then you play online, and it's like whole different game. Like
So do you
it,
have to like do you have to go like a certain speed? Is that the thing? Do you have to maintain a certain speed, or is that just for show? Like, are you controlling it and going at the same time?
no, I talked to some like coder hacker friends of mine to see if there was a way to like rig the bike up, and like the the gas pedal on like the internal gas pedal in the Mario Kart code, it's either just on or off. So there isn't really like a way to like slowly speed, there it the amount of effort I would have to go through to actually rig it up, and it wouldn't be that big. Like I wouldn't be able to make it so that the faster I pedaled, the faster it went. I could only make it so that if I was pedaling, the gas is on.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's easier to just like
No.
not do it.
So
But
you play with your hands?
I get into it, and I feel like sometimes I feel like if I pedal just a little extra harder, sometimes I can sneak through at the end there.
Yo, honestly, that's what I thought. You had me convinced. I was like, damn, all right, he's going. And then he started pumping it up. So I think it was the placebo effect, you know? It's like, damn, this motherfucker's moving right now. He's got a
Yeah, I
mod.
mean that's what made me realize I got to do this with the green screen live. Was I was doing it just on my own in front of the TV, and I would just get so into it, like my brain would trick me. My stomach would drop when I would hit jumps like in Mario Kart, and I was like, oh my god, this like feels real. 'Cause I have that large TV in the living room, and I was just like, huh, I have a green screen.
Easy.
Let's do it.
Dude, damn. So you got any plans on when you're getting back on that so we could tell people to check you out there? Because this motherfucker's playing Mario Kart on an exercise bike. It's next level stuff, next level streaming.
Definitely next week
Okay, all right.
on Monday. I think I'm gonna hop back on it.
Is it like when you work out? Is that when you decide to do it, or you got a schedule that you stick to, or like
I usually hop on the bike around like the same time every day. It helps me break up my day. Like the first half of my day, I do either like writing and Photoshop computer stuff. I either like that's when the mornings are for comedy and the afternoons are for music. Is kind of how I break up my days these days. And in the middle, I ride my exercise bike.
Oh, all right.
And for health reasons, I hadn't been able to ride. The thing is with Twitch, it's like you can't just go live for half an hour. I can't just do like a brisk workout. So like I needed to get myself in a position where I can really ride a bike for an hour and a half, and then still be entertaining.
That's
and
true.
I'm there now. Thankfully.
Damn. I mean, hey, you're a man of many talents. I'm sure you could have pulled something out of the hat, or like didn't even have to ride a bike if you were really feeling it. Maybe we'll catch a magic stream one of these days or something. You never know. Yo-yo stream. Fuck it.
It's anything's possible. If I can get a yo-yo to look good on camera and actually be entertaining, I'll probably go live with it.
Yo, that'd be fire. Honestly, you never know, man.
I am good at it.
My dad used to say he was good too. He's like, yo, the bus used to stop. I mean, he was born in 1950, so I mean, I'm sure they didn't have like the brains and stuff like that. But he was like, the bus used to stop.
It's it's about like 1,000 times crazier now than it was when I was a kid. Like I look at videos of what people who are doing national championships now are doing. I'm like, I don't know how gravity freaking works like that anymore,
Bro.
But it's cool seeing like people use like techniques that friends of mine like invented 20 years ago.
Shit.
Because I was deep into the yo-yo scene 20 years ago. Damn. And like some of these people that I worked with are like now they're like the godfathers, they're legends. They were much older than me when I was doing it, and they're like, there's like divisions and national championships named after them for things that I watched that like they invented as a joke at a hotel that we were at like before some tournament, so it's.
God. No, that's crazy shit. I mean, same thing with music too, huh? Like
it's literally the like, and traveling entertainers like develop that sort of bond, no matter what the form of entertainment it is, and like you will like so much stuff is invented for fun, but like in behind closed doors, it's like
inside jokes kind of thing.
It's like let's try let's try doing something like this. And, you make some goofy sound. And if the sub's clean under it, it works for a drop and people go crazy. And all of a sudden now that's a thing.
Bro.
And everyone, if the right person does something in front of enough people, it can become a thing.
Yeah, like you said, dubstep too, man. Like seeing those pictures of like the first 20 of them in a basement or something, and you're just like, they all have A's at the end of their name too. It's like Hatcha, Youngsta, like Banga, like all of those guys. It was the squad though, and seeing those pictures, you're just like, oh man, that's the start of something, and you see music going that way? Are you trying to, I mean, I know you said you're trying to stay in your own lane, but I saw a picture you post about your album the other day, and there's 256 audio tracks in there too, man. So are you just trying to outdo yourself, or are you just like continually challenging yourself?
Some of these tracks I definitely started like years ago, and they just keep like building and building. And yeah, so I this new album that I've been working on, I've been, slowly working on it for a few years.
Oh shit.
But like not like I have such a ridiculous process, like I'll write one song and eventually that song will grow into something that's like nearing 30 minutes in length. And I'm like, all right, let's break this up. And now that's the album. And then I'll go like, all right, let's focus on just the beginning part. Then that beginning part will grow into something that's like 20 minutes long. I'm like, well, fuck, now I should make just that the album. So I probably got like, 100 tracks at this point that are just like sitting on my computer that were all parts of one song at some point. But now I've decided in the past year to like really focus on this one chunk that it's probably going to be like close to like a bit over 40 minutes total, but it did kind of start off as one piece that grew into something that I had to break up. And what's cool is then since they all kind of started off in one session, like if I'm having writer's block or like not feeling like I want to just design a synth patch all day, I can dive into these other sessions and just pull stuff out where I'm like, oh, that one riff I wrote 3 years ago that I never used might sound awesome on this new synth that I'm working on. So, and then now it becomes part of the track, and in a way like it kind of makes what I'm doing feel sort of like timeless to me, because like I'll have, the bass line will be, a synth patch that I wrote last week, but with a melody that I wrote 3 years ago.
It still holds
5
up.
years ago.
Yeah, and it still feels good. It still's like, oh wow, like
it doesn't,
show its age.
I don't get trapped in the like, this track is made up of everyone's tutorials that dropped last week.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Yep. EPROM's pack is coming out tomorrow, and I guarantee you, like, that's what electronic music's going to sound like for a month or two, I mean, I'm going to cop it because it's EPROM, but, it's just like you're going to know what ones are going to be used in some music. You're going to hear other people. Like I hear it too.
Okay. At least they're using good stuff. At least they're using good sources.
That's true.
EPROM makes some good sounds.
That's true, man. I started noticing Kyoto sounds in other people's songs too. I'm like, oh, all right, I can't use that one then. If it's like that easily picked out, I'm like, I got to switch it up a little bit more.
You kind of have to do some, they make the sample packs are, it's paint. You still have to paint something else with it. You can't just take the color green and be like, look at the color green.
I did this.
It's somebody else's color green.
Shit, man. Like that's pretty crazy though about just kind of switching your I guess your attitude towards releasing too. I mean, did you distinctly kind of push this back a year, or was that all being worked on, and you just were doing the meme stuff and putting that out there to keep your name out there? Like, cause
I pushed it back a year because I didn't really want to release music and then not be able to tour it.
You feel like that's a proper way to put your music out? Like the tour is the proper way to kind of ingest it?
For someone like me who doesn't release music that often, whenever I do, I kind of have to make the biggest deal out of it as I possibly can, because it could be another year or two till I put out something else. So it's like you really kind of have to go all in, and I did that with my last record, and it worked very well. But like I haven't put out a real record in over 5 years now, which is crazy to me. But that also now that adds this pressure. Whereas like I can't just put out a track, I can't just drop something. Like I have to. It has to be, I do have to kind of outdo myself in ways that I've never done before, and I feel like I've finally done that with these pieces of music that I'm working on. It's definitely like the closest thing I'll make to a rock opera. It's like it's definitely like very big theatrical. Like you said, 250 channels of audio, like spanned over like just a 12-minute segment.
Jesus,
Lots of sections. The mix down is just like some of these tracks, like it's just like it takes fucking forever, and it's my least favorite part. Also, like what set me back a lot during the pandemic, during the move process, I was kind of without a studio for about 4 months, so not working on music. Like I kind of just like, all right, there's no shows, might as well just push it back. And I've rebuilt my studio last October, and I've been pretty much going ham. And I've got way more than just this album's worth of music. I've got tons of projects I've been working on. Lots of different types of music. The pandemic and the scene kind of shutting down really allowed me to explore songwriting in ways where like it wasn't dependent upon the show. For a whole year, it doesn't matter how hard your kick drum hits because no one's going to hear it on a system. So I'm just not going to worry about kick drums.
Yeah.
So like I've been, I bought a bass guitar, and I've been writing bass lines on bass and learning how to engineer and process that. And being able to just pick up an instrument and write stuff is just, I've been writing tons of totally different kinds of stuff lately, and I've been trying to organize it and decide how I'm going to release that in the future once I've put out this more theatrical piece that I've been working on for years. Because I have this album, and then I've probably written and almost finished, I don't know, close to 20 other tracks that I honestly don't know what to quite do with yet. Because some of it's like, some of it has no synths at all. Some of it's literally just like guitar, drums, bass, and keys. Some of it's more like down tempo, trip hop kind of stuff. I've got a lot of stuff like that I'll probably organize into something. The idea of putting out like a stuff under another alias has always been like creeping up on me. So like I'll probably be doing something like that over the next year.
Nice. I mean, yeah, you've had a lot of collaborative projects too, and just kind of, I mean, I feel like you're not really a single guy. You're more of like, let me just get a collab with you, like a collab project. You're kind of like just a project
I always
guy.
like I'm a big picture kind of person. It comes with the sound and everything. I just kind of like, I don't like to just like make a track with somebody. I want to make an album with somebody. It's like,
so it's always been like that. Was like your last album kind of come from a one piece of music too? Was it like one, just like this one was, a long track that you kind of broke up? Or
no, not really. The last record was kind of just like the 6 best things that I had been working on. And they happen to also just be like very, kind of dramatic and theatrical as well. So that's always kind of been my sound, I guess. And in a way that I noticed that also kind of boxed me in a little bit. I figured that out while having that introspection in the past year and being able to make all this other kinds of music of just like, exploring stuff that is kind of genre specific. Like I have written some tracks that are, true 140, not dubstep, but like, dub reggae kind of stuff, where I just like, that's why I have this board, so that I can do like old school live dubbing kind of
nice
mixing.
Like you like be a fucking composer kind of thing, be a studio engineer instead of just like a button pusher kind of guy on Ableton. I feel like I fall victim to that a little bit too, man. It's a lot less playing and a lot less like it's just dragging and dropping sometimes too. But I mean,
there were some days like where like if I found myself spending the entire day EQing a kick drum instead of playing piano, I'd feel like my soul is dying a little bit.
Mm.
And like I know that it's like part of the job in terms of like making your shit sound professional, because if like that's one of the things I did start noticing is the bigger shows that I would play and the nicer systems that I would play on, like your little idiosyncrasies in your production process come through,
Oh
and
yeah.
lots more and more people can hear it. So I became more self-conscious about that, which I guess also kind of kept my ass in the studio a lot longer than I probably would have liked. But
Hey, it paid off. I think you got some really like top of the
yeah, I think
line
so. I think it
quality.
will, especially when I finally get this new stuff out there. It's
Hey, even
on a whole different level than any of the stuff that I've done in the past.
oh nice. So do you have like a prospective date for it? You got like an idea of when you want it out?
I'd love to release it in the fall.
Okay.
I'm
Ooh,
hoping to have it pretty much
soon.
finished, ready for like final scrutinizing and mix downs by the end of the month. I think I can
Oh
nail it.
shit.
It's mostly
Damn.
just like some stuff like some parts I haven't I haven't really like zeroed in and focused on in like a year, and some of these parts I'm like, oh, I think I can re-record this synth line with something.
Mm,
Some parts will sound out when you spend years working on something. Certain parts will kind of start to sound outdated, and you get
definitely.
the chance to update it. With better software or better recordings and better know-how and better techniques. That's always the curse of doing any creative endeavor is you're always, by the time you finished, you're better than what you made. You're always
Mm,
like, you always look at that and like, well, I could do this. You're always hopefully you're better than when you started.
true. It's
So
like
you
chasing
always
your
feel like you
tail.
could have done something about it a little bit better. That's sort of my curse, is that that's why I just can't bring myself to finish it.
So when's
But
the
but I'm
when's
doing it. I'm finally finishing tunes, and it feels good. Part of writing some of this more like genre specific stuff, and being like writing tracks that I've been writing music. I have some songs that I've written that are actually under 3 minutes long, which if you familiar with my work, that's like out like
damn.
totally out of character for me. But like the feeling of actually finishing something was something I hadn't felt in so long, and I was like, this is what it feels like to actually finish something. And so now I'm chasing it with this bigger project.
Nice. Oh shit!
And
Because I remember for the last one you were exporting this shit on like a steak or something or a fish
yeah,
fillet or something.
my laptop, which I actually still have, not what I'm working on now, but it yeah, the only way I could keep Ableton from crashing my computer while exporting the tracks was to have it up on frozen pork chops. So unfortunately, my last record is not vegetarian. It's not vegan.
We got the meats, bro. Damn. At least you were defrosting dinner at a rapid rate, yo. That's crazy. So,
The gross and unfortunate part was I definitely had to throw those pork chops away.
oh man,
Did
damn, bro.
not
They served a purpose.
was not about to cook those after my laptop seared them.
Yeah, at least they served a purpose, man. Those pigs or whatever they were, the beef should be proud. They did something good, like they didn't just get pooped out. They provided like a whole experience for a lot of people.
But definitely, like I've had laptops. Laptops get hot, especially those metal Macs.
Oh yeah.
I had an issue like probably the scariest and most intense experience of my entire career was when I played Red Rocks opening for Papadosio, and I it my when I had to set up my stuff at in the afternoon, and my gear was under direct sunlight, and so I asked security, I asked EMT for an ice pack so that I could keep my shit cool. And I only had one ice pack, and I had to make the decision: do I put the ice pack under my computer or under my sound card? And I made the decision to put the ice pack under my sound card. And then as soon as I hit play on the first track, I noticed my computer screen froze. The levels on my screen weren't moving, but the audio was still playing, and I had my APC 40, so I could see everything was the computer was working fine, but I was blind.
Damn.
I was completely blind. All of a sudden, and I was just praying that nothing else would go wrong. But thankfully, it was, if I had saved the computer and the sound card overheated, that would have been the end of the show.
Damn.
That would have been a disaster. But yeah, definitely just had to like Luke Skywalker use the Force on that one, and just like literally like thanked everything anytime. Like I could, I tested like the effects. I'm like, okay, so everything's still working, just the screen is frozen,
dude.
And that, like,
I literally have nightmares about something like that. Not that specific where the screen's not working, but something doesn't load up, and it's been at Red Rocks, like an amphitheater. At the very least, it's very dark. I can't see.
Definitely like the worst case scenario. It was like literally,
bro.
But it worked out. It was fine. It's thankfully it's my own music, and I know how it works. I know how to mix with it. So like, I don't the way I mix and do cue points and stuff. It's not as like, if I don't hit, when I'm mixing stuff that's different time signatures and ambient kind of stuff, I don't necessarily need, if I'm off by an eighth note, I can correct things.
Yeah. Okay, that's worked out for the best.
The biggest saver though was that on the new APCs, they have the tempo knob is notched.
Yeah. Oh.
So if I needed to change the tempo, I literally just had to count clicks in my head to know that I was getting the next track to the right. It was literally like the ultimate test of how well do I know my music and how well do I know what I'm doing.
God, thank God.
In front of, thousands and thousands of people.
And who are not there to like get electronic music to begin with. They might be like experimental.
No, they weren't there to see me. So It was definitely like you bet, like, who is this guy? You better do a good job type of thing.
Damn, bro. Holy, bro. That's some scary shit, like literally nightmare fuel. But pulled through.
Yeah, so I don't use that laptop at shows anymore.
Damn, no, I wouldn't either, man. That's it. That's from retirement. Yeah. Shit, bro. So I mean, we got a couple Discord tunes in here if you want to get through them before you go, or you want to fucking drop anything on us. If you want to promote your meme brand, you want to drop your Twitch link in here. But anything.
I'll hop in the chat and post stuff afterwards. But yeah, I guess the only thing I got really to plug is in the next month I am releasing my last album, Charade, on vinyl.
Okay.
Which I just got remastered, and it sounds really nice.
Crisp, huh,
I'm
dude?
stoked. I put this whole package together with a hand-numbered fold-out poster on the inside, and it's going to be on transparent vinyl. It's going to be a pretty sick package. Damn. And very, very limited run. I probably won't make another run after that.
Is this first vinyl release?
Yes.
Oh,
it is going to be my first vinyl release.
Nice. Okay. Yo, hell yeah, man. That's big.
Stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, I'll probably, anticipate new music in the fall, and in the meantime, buy my silly meme shirts at the super-s.com. I'll post a link. There's something for everybody, and there's lots of things for nobody. That's the way I describe it.
What happened to your Instagram too? It said I was looking for it today, and it said Supercilious Instagram got like Mark Zuckerberg or some shit, Zucked or some shit.
Yeah. The thing about robots can't distinguish parody from intentional copyright infringement, and I made the unfortunate mistake of hashtagging some of my shit with the entities that I was making fun of, and robots got to me.
Copyright claimed you and got you off Instagram that quick? No trial? Yeah. There was no trial for our man? What the fuck?
I mean, it's one of those things where I did talk to a lawyer about it, and it's it's not worth fighting.
Oh, okay.
Really
So was
not
that was the original?
It's the risk that you play when when you make fun of shit. And it's all, everything sort of, it's derivative content, and yeah, it's
I mean, come on, like that's.
I agree, but
yeah. I guess that's the way it is, huh? You just
Warner
can't.
Music's robots feel differently.
You had a couple of them that were just straight like the logo with something else like on the bottom of it or something. It was like, you were playing with a couple.
Some of them weren't even really that bad. It was just it was the hashtags that attracted the bots.
Oh, okay. And what was it? Copyright? They were just threatening you with copyright or some shit, or?
Yeah, if it on Instagram, if you get it's worse for music. If you play music that's like major label music over Instagram, you get a copyright strike, and if you get 3 copyright strikes, they just delete your account.
Oh shit!
And the bots just like came at me all at once, and I got like 3 in a row.
Damn, bro.
Over because it was stuff that some of it was over stuff I had posted like over a year ago.
So they just retroactively hit you at one time.
Like a person, who found it and was like, "Oh, I don't think this is acceptable."
What about your shirt right there? Is that a Supercilious shirt?
Live, laugh, love, Limp Bizkit.
It seems like it would be.
Yeah, that one's on there. That one's on the site.
So would you say it was the super-s.com?
Yeah, the super-s.com.
Oh, okay, the super-s. All right, I was fucking up. I was typing the same Instagram account in. I don't know what it brought me to. Like some superhero thing. The super.s.com. I'll link it in chat right now too. This man's got fucking.
Yeah, that's it.
Boom. Look at him down here. Just Dr. Gray over here. Oh man, this guy's got some gold though. Honestly, I've been seeing a lot of them were pretty on the nose with like time when they came out, and like the memes of today. Like you were really on point. There would be something that came out, and then the next day you'd have a shirt about it. Really like on the nose shirt, man. So I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, for a while, like especially when I was without my studio, it was like making memes was 100% like my full-time job.
That's fucking awesome, man. What a day and age.
Yeah.
Damn. The weekend. I didn't see that.
I dropped that one on Super Bowl Sunday.
See what I mean? Like perfect
time.
Yo,
he came out with that red shirt, and I was like, wait a second.
Oh, so timely, bro. You must have got a bunch of hits just from like random people who didn't even know who you were, your music. They were just like, this is fucking gold.
Oh yeah, it was to a point now where like on my old Instagram account where like half of my followers probably didn't even know that I made music.
Oh my, wow. Damn, that's pretty good.
But it was good for me because I noticed that like a lot of people had this sort of like existential crisis in the pandemic where they realized they put all of their eggs into the electronic music basket, and I kind of felt like I owed it to myself as a creative person to like prove to myself that I wasn't like I could do other things, and it's like if like what I asked myself, and I had talk with friends. I'm like, what do you like? What are you gonna do if live shows never come back? Like, what if this is like really bad? Like what do we do? We still there's the creativity is still in there, and the desire to attain masses. Like, there's always something to figure out. Like why you make music. There's a reason why people make music that, if you look hard enough, has nothing to do with music. Music is just the means to that end. And if you figure out what that end is that you want, you can find it in other places, in other ways, and in other mediums. Like I was just reading that Thellum just made a post about how he's took the pandemic off to pursue drawing, and now he's got a tattoo apprenticeship. It's like you can, if you're a creative person, the medium doesn't matter.
No, for real. And you've been doing it with even magic and yo-yos. I mean, it's the same thing. You're expressing yourself through another medium.
Yeah, I had to like remind myself that like music wasn't my first job, so there's no reason why it has to be my last job.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm always gonna do it. You know, whether you know shows come back in full swing or not. You know,
Definitely.
um, and I'm glad they are coming back.
Yeah. No,
I
I am
just
too.
now that I live four
Refocus.
hours from the nearest airport, it's gonna take me a lot more to get my ass to a festival than it did when I literally lived, a 20-minute train ride.
Yeah. Or in like the Northeast where it's all going down. It's like three or four
Right, when I could
shows
just
in
drive.
one. You,
I could do the Northeast pretty
true.
easily
True.
with
True.
my car,
That's
and
true.
that.
Yeah, but I mean, the
But
whole hustle bustle living in the city, I think that's kind of died down. You know, it's like you could kind of make
well,
do
when I
anywhere
lived in
now.
Denver, it was touring was super easy because I literally our warehouse was right next to the train station that was a one-way shot to the airport. So
Mm,
I could roll out of bed and be on the plane in an hour and a half.
easy,
Like that's
easy.
like that like
Yeah,
I wouldn't even have to wake up and I'm already through security.
yeah. No, then that point, you take every show, you take any show. But now I think it's kind of made us take a step back and be like, what do we want out of this too? You know, do we want to just play every show, or what are we getting out of it? Is it worth the time and energy we're putting into it for $200 or $300 and for to play for you know 8 people or something like that, or is it better to just kind of carve out your niche and then come back at it with a more like defined direction, and how you want to portray the art and kind of
I mean, I've
where you fit
definitely
in.
always been a quality over quantity type of
Yeah,
guy when it comes to just my output and my touring in general. Um, so like, and with the pandemic, I definitely really learned to love my home life even more. So like that balance, I enjoy a lot. When I lived in New York, um, being able to escape from the city was its own reward. Whereas like I don't where I live right now, I don't really have a desire to escape from. It's kind of like nice.
oh,
I'm literally like amongst farmland. Like my neighbors across the street have like 100 pigs in their backyard. My next door neighbor has llamas. It's like I see more people. I'm sorry, I see more animals on a daily basis than I see people,
damn.
and I kind of like it like that.
Yeah,
So
that seems
it
nice.
definitely that type of attitude will keep me selective. When I was touring hard, my least favorite gigs were ones that I did just because I needed or wanted the money, and I knew that it wasn't like the best, production or whatever, and I was just like, it's a gig.
Yeah,
There's there's a million ways to make money. So like, if I'm going to hop on a plane to fly across the country to share my art with a bunch of people, like it it might as well be done right.
yeah.
If I'm going to go through that much effort, I probably felt very differently, when I was in my early 20s, but now that I'm in my 30s, it's just like
Well,
uh,
you rethink
traveling is
things.
also much more physically taxing now than it is
It's like
than it was
recovery
back
day.
then.
You got to account for that, and then getting back in the swing of things. And before you know it, it's next week again for the next gig, and it's like, oh man, is that how you're at your most creative? I don't think so. It's like maybe
No,
a little.
not at all.
No.
And like being able to hide in the studio for months on end is so, like it takes me a while to get into my flow. It can take me like days to get into
Yeah.
to the zone. So like having like weeks in a row where I can work on stuff where I don't have to go go to the airport. It's like it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to maintain that balance into the future,
Hell yeah.
especially that I've put myself in a position where I'm not necessarily dependent on gigs specifically to make money.
Yeah.
I've been inspired by some. I have friends that have literally just been crushing the lo-fi hip hop game, and they now have you know millions of monthly listeners on Spotify, and they're never gonna tour again because they don't fucking have to. They love their home life, and they're
That's
getting
true.
a real paycheck. Like there's a million ways to make money in entertainment and in music too, without having to tour. And a lot of musicians don't uh, don't realize that. They feel like the live show is the only way to make money. It's the only way to feel validated. It's the only way to earn the party, and it's not true. Um, it's definitely fun. Gigs are awesome. I'm not going to tell anybody that, it's great. There's not much to compare it to.
No, it's a drug in itself, man. Maybe that's what it was too. All of us kind of being like addicted to that adrenaline of being on stage and having the good show and chasing that good show too, and then having it taken away. We're all kind of like, I loved it, don't get me wrong, but there are other ways that maybe we could go about this a little bit smarter and kind of preserve our body.
I kind of just like immediately like beat it into my head, like, don't fiend for this. It's not available,
Oof, it was tough though, I'm not gonna lie, man. It was like, summer was right around the corner. There were some of those Mexico festivals.
Oh, dude, I
bro.
Dozens of gigs just disappeared.
Dude, yeah. So I mean, it was tough, but I mean, moving on from it is what was important. I think you did a really good job of kind of switching.
I immediately got into my head that this was going to be like not over in a month. I knew that this was going to be like in at least a year or two thing.
God.
I'm very grateful that I got that in my head like in March. I have one of my other jobs that I do is, obviously with making t-shirts, I do graphic design, and I did a logo design for a COVID testing lab, and I learned way more about this virus than I ever wanted to, and that definitely got really kind of hammered the reality home about what we're dealing with and how long we're really going to be dealing with it. So
God damn.
The fiending for getting back to normal kind of disappeared pretty quickly, and was more just about making sure me and my immediate family is safe.
Preservation, baby. Yeah, that's what's good about it, and you're like, all right, my legacy.
You can't tour if you've got lung scarring. You can't tour if you're dead. You can't,
Yeah, no, it's very true.
If you've got weird heart conditions, and I got my vax, but I'm not in a rush to head to the airport just yet.
Nah, I think you've always been like one of the producers that's like a homebody producer too. There's like, just the people who, like you said, are more comfortable at home than kind of doing the road tours or the bus tours or anything, and you kind of flourish in those environments. There's some people who can make fucking hotel bangers all day, like they just thrive in that environment. I love traveling. I unfortunately love it a lot because I've now, from doing music so much, I've made so many really good friends that are scattered all over the country that touring is really the only way I can see them. So that part of it I miss almost the most, to be honest. There's so many really good friends that I unfortunately can't just hop on a plane to go visit. But creatively,
I cannot. If you see my setup, unfortunately, this is what I need to feel productive, and I can't. I know that that's not the case for everybody. And I can't work in a hotel. I can't work on airplanes. I've tried. I can't do it.
You have any plans on doing streaming music, either production or live things? Your own kind of curated
definitely.
things.
Nice. I've got it all ready to go.
Nice.
I was just waiting to get some of these tracks more finished so that I can load up the stems on the board and do some live dubbing sessions. Ooh. And have all the synths plugged in and do some jamming kind of stuff. I don't really want to do production sessions just because I'm that part is way more boring than you might think it is. Mostly just because I don't work quickly. When I watch Mr. Bill do stuff on his streams, it's he works so fast that in itself is stimulating and entertaining.
True.
Whereas for me, watching me just tweak one knob, it's for 25 minutes and hitting the space bar over and over again, I don't think I wouldn't consider that entertaining, but
that's true.
I've been figuring out ways that I can incorporate my whole setup into something that I can,
Yeah.
put on a little show.
Absolutely. Like Honeycomb is really flourished, I think,
Yeah,
in
dude.
his
Like
time.
his stuff is his streams are so dope to watch.
Yeah.
It's so entertaining and like
And he's
he
always been
kind
that
of
talented. He's always had the ability to play, and you just can't bring all that fucking equipment, though, for a gig that's playing you jack shit, Like, me and him have lost so much money just going to shows and playing them, paying us $20 at the end of the night. You can't bring all that shit. After a while, you're just like, nah, it's not worth it, I'll just fucking go up and beatbox, like. But now he's had the time to flourish, really, and kind of come into his own, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah, but his stuff on there is so good on
Yeah.
on his Twitch.
Yeah. I didn't
Especially
even know
that-
he motherfucker played guitar and shit. He just whipped it out that he's playing flute. I'm like, this guy, dude. It's funny, man. It's funny. I think it's allowed him to shine in his own kind of avenue too, because he's always been that talented. And there was a few times I played a show where he'd set up his fucking pianos and we'd be playing for 3 or 4 people, and it's like, is it worth it? So it's become way full circle. So it has been worth it. You just had, I guess, the setting. It's all about the context and stuff.
I mean, if it was up to me, if I had the ability or the resources, like I would bring this stuff with me to shows, but it's just
Yeah,
it requires a vehicle.
Yeah.
A bigger vehicle than my car is at the moment. I can't take this stuff on airplanes, just not without a crew of people. But someday, you get to see people like when Spango brings his mixing board out and like
True.
getting behind there. It's like that to me just feels like the way to do it, because like I have all of my instruments loaded up on here and I can really kind of like play it like control them like an orchestra. If I want to bring the arps down and bring the glitches up and send them to a delay here, I can't really do that on just a laptop set.
Yeah.
I mean, I can kind of do it, but it's like,
nah, you look like a maestro behind that.
Something like this is an old school kind of analog Mackie board, and what I love about it is it's one knob, one function. So like everything, if I want to do something, I can just reach out and grab it, and I really like that aspect about it. And like same with all my synths are kind of analog in that way. I'm not a huge fan of menu diving. I get confused by some of the like more heavy duty like electron boxes, and even some of the more digital modular stuff is just like when I look at what like Richard Devine does, I follow him on Instagram and his videos. I look at that stuff and I'm like, I am so glad I don't even try to do that kind of stuff.
Jesus Christ. Does he even know what's going on? I think at that point you're just like fucking around, just plugging things anywhere. Like, Jesus Christ, there's so much.
I think he knows exactly what you have to have a discipline where like, when you get a piece of gear or a piece of software to really spend like a week with it and learn what every single parameter does. And like, I don't even do that with plugins that I have, like I love just turning knobs and seeing what the hell happens. That's recording true. As much of it as I can and then chopping that up into making something coherent. That's kind of how I do like my sound designy kind of stuff. But like people, like in Conti or Mr. Bill, like they're such scientists about it, where I'm definitely more like a Jackson Pot. Like my shit's just my production workflow is very messy, and
I like that. I like that.
Probably not that entertaining to watch. Not that entertaining to watch from a sonic standpoint.
Okay.
It's just a lot of bad sound until I find that 3 seconds of good sound. And then I'm
throwing a lot of shit at the wall, kind of thing.
Yeah, because like so much of it is like I'll just turn record on and then jam on a synth and then tweak knobs, and then after I'll have like an hour's worth of recording and find 4 seconds that are amazing, and then that becomes the hook of the song. And like, but no one wants to watch that hour of
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's how I've been feeling too, man. I watch Mr. Bum. Like he knows what he wants to do, gets it done. And if somebody in chat's like, "Oh, try this," he's like, "Oh, I could do it this way. I could do it this way." And I'm like, "Oh shit, 3 different ways to do this auto pan or fucking weird shit." And I'm like, and he does it in 3 seconds. I'm like, that.
Like
I guess
if I did like an experimental sound design session, I could probably do some sort of stream where I kind of focused it on that and made it more jammy. But it would still be catered to, knowing that it would change my style of production would change knowing that there's people watching me work. I feel
Okay.
like that would be true for most
Yeah.
artists.
I mean, hey, that could be good too, like stepping out of comfort zone has always helped me produce, and like doing little exercises like 30-minute challenges or something.
I'd probably get shit done faster because I feel
Yeah.
like people are watching me dilly
True.
dally,
Yeah.
spending too much time analyzing a sound that,
Yeah.
6 months later I might not even end up making the final cut of the track.
That's true. Yeah, or who knows? Honeycomb comes in, you guys start talking about fleshlights or something, like get totally off track, bro. It might add to your fucking production time, like you never know, man. Twitch is a weird area, You either get a lot of shit done and some people give you some good advice, or it's like, no, don't tell me to do that. No. Let me
Yeah, I
just
kind of
produce.
just really like being in my own world when I'm writing songs.
Yeah.
Like having other people, like I don't really work well when there's other people in the room either. Like unless we're working on something together.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's I don't know. It's just a weird
What
artist thing,
what
I
about like
guess.
having other things going on, like a movie with the sound off or something? Sometimes I have
No,
YouTube up.
I can't do
Oh,
that.
okay. Totally focused, gotta be.
Yeah, like I rarely connect this computer to the internet unless I'm doing Zoom or live stream
Oh
stuff.
wow. Oh, I like that. I like that idea. Don't connect your shit to the internet.
Yeah,
That's fire.
unless I need to update software, I don't even check my email or log in on Facebook on this computer.
Ooh, that's a good like creative tool right there, I guess, just in itself. Just fucking no internet on that shit. You're not gonna have anything. No games. You know what I mean? No bullshit.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. My games is out in the living room so that it's a casual thing.
Damn. No, that's prime, man. Well, I mean, I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, and you've always been kind of you know funny and mysterious. You pop in and out of like the scene, and you're like, all right, here's my album, and then you dip for a while, but you stay in with like memes and stay relevant. I know you're in touch with everything, like uh you always have like some social commentary kind of thing going on with the memes, so it's not like just brainless bullshit too, man. I appreciate your humor, and I think
Thank
it's
you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a conscious effort there. It all kind of stems from the desire to like constantly want to entertain people, whether I'm on stage or not.
no, definitely.
All
And
been
I
sort
like
of
how it's
kind of
changed.
that.
It's changed over the time, whether it be the stream or the meme thing too, and it still ties back like that Function One pillow. I'm like, damn, I want to get that, bro. It's fucking fire, like just not even like as a funny thing. It's like a seriously cool fucking pillow too, bro. But
I've seen some people that got like 8 of them, and they'd have like an arranged rig like
triple
on their bed.
stacks.
It's really funny.
Yo, that's fire, man. I know you said you wanted to do some like maybe video game music or kind of music composition too, but is that kind of what you're alluding to, more of like the storyline kind of stuff with the new album, or is that going to be a completely separate thing to look forward to in the future?
I mean, narrative and drama has always been a huge part of my music. My songs rarely end where they begin anywhere near where they began. And this album definitely like takes that to a limit. My biggest inspiration music wise is probably video game music. I played say between like David Weiss, who did all the music for Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2, and a few others I can't even remember. But like Donkey Kong 1 and 2 are some of the best video game music hands down of all time. Like that underwater soundtrack literally changed ambient music forever. In 1994 or whenever it on Super Nintendo.
Shit. I'm gonna need to check this out. I don't remember it.
But that, and like I'm a huge Final Fantasy nerd, so Nobuo Uematsu is the composer for there. Is like he's probably my biggest musical influence hands down, and then everything else has been just what I've been exposed to listening wise, whether it's like I got gateway music often comes with gateway drugs. So when I started smoking weed is when I started discovering music like Air and DJ Shadow and that kind of like down tempo trip hop kind of 90s like slow breakbeat vibes, and then that worked me up into like Aphex Twin and Square Pusher and Autechre, and that like really kind of balls to the walls glitch glitched out IDM shit, and then I started trying to make that kind of stuff on the computer. And once I realized that I was definitely not going to be the next Aphex Twin, I just started making started going incorporating more of the like live band stuff that I had been doing my whole life. I started on guitar and piano and making music on the computer. I sort of like didn't need the band to get the ideas out of my head, and I was very grateful for that because it turned into my goofy little music career.
This, bro, yeah. I mean, and it's still kind of we don't know where it's going to. We don't know where it's going to transition into, and like you say, your kind of emphasis is on making a niche too. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes, because I think when I first got into the scene, I kind of put you into the IDM, not pigeonhole, but with the spangles and the tipper, I'm like, that motherfucker's sound is clean and it's like trippy and psychedelic too. So to see it kind of transform and maybe speak a little bit different, say something a little bit different than where you started, I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes, especially with a year off too.
With this new stuff, I feel very far from where I began in a very good way musically. But also it's, with my time that I've had over the past couple months, I have all this other music where I have been able to like explore the things that got me into music in the first place. Like I've been making a lot of, kind of down tempo or like old school trip hop, kind of like Portishead and Uncle and that kind of stuff that was much bigger in the 90s, but still makes me feel good.
Yeah,
and that's what it's all about.
Definitely. No, that's kind of where I'm going to, man. It's like I'm listening to a lot of like Cujo, like Amin Tobin's first shit. It's just like trip hop instrumental, like I'm ripping some samples and then throwing some good drums over it, and not really focusing too much on, is this the biggest sound system banger? I'm just like, this is a vibe and a half, bro.
Amon Tobin's a hugely good example of someone who's always kind of blurred the lines between that like old school 90s trip hop and the like newer like hyper focused sound design, but without getting too bangery. Like even some of his Two Fingers stuff is still like crazy glitched out, even though like it may have a drop or two somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's not like Amin Tobin's Islam. Is that what it was? Is Isam? Yeah, that one was. I mean, it was like glass breaking and water. Like it was just random Foley sounds.
That's so cool. Did you get to ever see it live?
I did. Yeah, that's what tripped me out. I did not know what the fuck to expect. I was like tripping balls, and then I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? This glass breaking. People are yelling, "Sit down, sit down." We're all sitting down anyway, But everyone just wanted to see the visual, so they're like, "Sit down." Everyone's like tripping, all confused, man. It was one of the most confused I think I've ever been in a set.
At Visco?
Yeah, at Visco, yeah.
Yeah, that was, there were a lot of confused people in that crowd for that one.
Hey, I mean, it sent me down a rabbit hole. I'm still a fan of him today. I was listening to him last week when we were, chilling out on a Saturday, man. It was like just vibe music. So, I mean, it still stays true to this day. It didn't really show its age, and I think that's kind of what is going to go far. It's not about like the biggest, baddest sound design, because I mean that will be cool and shit, but I mean
it's about solving. It's like I said at the beginning, it's like it's solving the expendability problem, where like if you like Amon Tobin, you can only get Amon Tobin style music from Amon Tobin. No one else can do it that well or that style.
That's very true.
It's just like you have to get it from him. He's
yeah. I mean,
there's a pretentious term in filmmaking for that kind of thing. It's not really used in music. They call it auteur, where it's like Quentin Tarantino, where like you see a Quentin Tarantino movie, you don't even have to know that he made it to know that he made it.
Ooh.
And if you like his shit, you're not going to be able to, like, no one else can do that. Like Steven Spielberg or like people like that, where they really are their own, like they created this whole world, and like people like Tipper or Spangle and Amon Tobin and like really, very few others have created this like whole world and culture around them where stylistically and thematically with their musical choices, it's like it's stuff that just nobody else does.
Yeah, no, and even if they do, it's not to this par.
It's
Like I
not the
think,
same.
like
It's
Pretty
not.
Lights, man.
I've tried. It doesn't sound the same.
Yeah, you could be the best you, I guess. But like Pretty Lights music, man. I feel like the whole music, the PLM scene, kind of fell to the wayside once he kind of disappeared. And I mean, it was just because once he was there, it was all lifted up, But when he kind of disappeared, everyone's still doing all right. But I feel like it's not without the leader. It's kind of hard to keep that movement going.
Well, it's not necessarily about being a leader, and I think that's where like there's a lot of confusion there, because like I love Pretty Lights. He's very talented, but he's not the most original. Like his music,
No.
if you like Pretty Lights music, you can find a million other people who make music exactly as well as he does.
No, at the time
no
though,
offense,
it was just
but
like it was a thing. Like he was just the guy, and I don't know, for some reason, I think maybe because he became a little bit before some of these other guys, that I might have had a liking to him.
Pioneers become leaders. Like that's totally valid and super important. But when I think of something more niche, like when I think of like Girl Talk, where like that shit like really kind of shattered. Like people tried to do that kind of stuff, and nobody ever came close to hitting that mark as well as him.
That's true.
And of course, they all ended up having the issue of copyright, and a big reason why they became leaders is that they eventually got the ability through either connections or money or whatever to clear those samples and be able to efficiently distribute that content. Like
True.
Girl Talk got in a lot of trouble for his stuff till he got signed to Sony and was like, well, now that Sony owns most of the samples that I use anyway, it's not, or whatever he got signed to. I don't know the exact label. Don't quote me on that.
That's a good point. It took him.
That's basically how it happens. It's like
it was more than the music. It was fighting for.
But he definitely, like him and Grammatic, they really like paved, and Grizz too. They paved this way of like they became these sort of leaders of this sound. And in a way, but like Big Gigantic was doing it too. There was a time where everyone and their mother was adding saxophone to their EDM project out in Colorado,
That's true.
To the point where it was almost like comical. But now that hasn't become, that homogenization sort of disappeared. The leaders and the pioneers and the auteurs kind of still stayed strong, because they did prove that their stuff was just enough uniquely theirs that you can't really get it from anyone else.
Damn.
And that's hard to do. It's hard to be yourself and also be good at it. It's like those are two very totally separate things.
Yeah. It's almost a strike of luck too, like good is subjective too. It's like who's to say? A lot of it is like hype too. It's like what's cool these days,
well,
and
a huge part of art, like the art of art, is also convincing people. That's part of the solving the expendability problem. Ooh. Is letting the world know you exist. It's not enough to just make something. You have to convincing people to look at your stuff over the millions of other people who are doing it. That's an art in itself, and that often takes more than just that's usually something that is bigger than just one man or one brand.
That's true, especially now in this day and age. They make it seem like it's an organicness, but it's like a whole team. I guess that's always how it's been, like
that part has always been sort of goofy to me, because like, again, I come from like film and TV where like, there is the director, but the credits still roll at the end of the movie, and you get to see all 500 people that it took to actually make this damn thing.
Damn.
Down to who fed the people who made the thing. It's like that never happens. Like I always joke that it would be so awesome at the end of EDM shows if like the VJ could roll credits and you get to see like who actually like was involved in the media production as well as the the event production as well, you know.
Yeah. No, that's huge, man. That's actually something that maybe we should be doing a lot more of too, because it takes a village, man, to put these shows
I know
on.
VJs like that idea.
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
'Cause they're another like they're getting their spotlight now, which is very very long overdue, and there's more really awesome talent than ever. But for a while, it was really like a struggle for VJs to like, because they really are putting in the same, if not more, work than we are up there.
yeah. Definitely, man. Definitely. It's
Same with LDs, and if you're using more than you're just left and right, the sound guy's doing your work for you too. You know,
that's true.
there's so many, like, it takes a whole damn team, and that's I feel like that's something that's like underappreciated or in some ways like intentionally obfuscated in electronic music. There's sort of this like weird thing where like people think that this one guy or this one person does everything and it's all of them, and they're, you know, and in a way it unfortunately leads to like hero worship and all the trappings that come with that.
That's true. And like
I don't want to get too deep into that.
no, no, but like unfair expectations too.
We'll be on here for hours if I start going into that.
Yeah, no, hey man, I mean it's been nice to fucking pick apart your brain too, and just, you know, hear some of the more serious sides of your perspective on these things. I mean, it's easy to meme them, you know. I mean, I guess it's not easy, but it's easy to it's not easy to have a positive outlook. So I mean, it's nice that there's a balance, you know. It's not just here's the funny guy.
I think about this stuff a lot, you know. It's important to me, and in some ways I find it goofy that it's not that important to so many other people. But I try not to worry about that too much.
Well, you have a nice balance of not taking yourself too seriously as well, too. You know, it's just like if I'm not even gonna get bothered.
I'll be forced into it because I'll create a conflict and someone will get mad, and I'm like, why? This is draining my energy. Why did I do this? Oh shit! I caught myself taking life too seriously. Don't do that. This is what happens, you know.
Is that where the name came from? Maybe we could end it on that too. We'll just figure out where this name came from. Is it from your, you know, just your outlook on life? Does it have a specific meaning?
So Supercilious is a real word.
Oh, really?
But spelled differently than how I spell it. I got it from a vocabulary test I took in high school, which it's a Latin word. Comes from hundreds of years ago, which super means to raise, and cilia, which meant your eyebrows. So supercilious was a supercilious expression was a face you would make when confronted with something that was extremely confusing or exciting or ridiculous. Really, it became sort of a synonym for ridiculous. And now I think the modern interpretation is it actually does mean a pretentious fuck, which I also think is hilarious because in a way, not only is that extremely long-winded definition kind of pretentious, but I'm definitely, you know, I'm a goofy person, but I'm also definitely a snob and pretentious, and I catch myself taking shit too seriously or believing that my opinions are more important than other people's. And you know, it's all about that balance of like being, you know, believe you have to believe in yourself. You know, you have to take your ideas seriously, or else like you're wasting brain power, you know. But at the same time, you know, here I'm getting more pretentious again, but one of my favorite authors, Oscar Wilde, said life is too important to take seriously. So I always kind of like keep that in the back of my mind, where like if you know, it's important to take your craft and the things you hold dear, you know, like it's important to have things that you feel are important. But if you catch yourself taking the whole fucking thing too seriously, you know, someone's gotta flick your ear and snap you out of it. So I guess I invite that intentionally so that I can I can do that.
Yeah, you can mock yourself almost too, you know? Is if you
Oh,
start
yeah,
taking yourself too seriously, you could be like, "Hey, I'm an idiot too sometimes," you know?
Nobody likes a sad clown.
But we all are low key, you know what I mean? It's just like I think just try to. It's easier to be to make people happy than just to feel like a burden on them, you know? Feel like just like a
Of
Debbie
course.
Downer, you know? It's just
100%.
oof, and that's
But yeah,
easy
like,
too.
but yeah, it's important. It's important to not brush that off. Like something I always say, like with comedy, is like to laugh at something isn't to laugh it off. Those are two very different things. So like to laugh at something and like poke fun at something is almost like I look at it as a means of almost appreciating the truth of it
Ooh,
rather than like diminishing it, you know?
yeah,
I feel like the more things in this life that I find hilarious, the closer I'm getting to the truth of it all, you know?
very true.
And the more that you see the truth of the world, the more you will find it ridiculous, because I hope I'm not the first person to break it to you, but the universe is a very absurd and irrational place that is thankfully just organized enough. The electrons and the particles are just organized enough that we get to do this for about 70 years. But otherwise, it's complete fucking chaos, and we have no real like explanation for it all. So like, it's humbling and it's silly, and laughing at it is sort of my way of like staring it in the face at the same time.
Absolutely, it's laugh or cry at this point, you know. And there's no use in crying, like you said. It's just because it's a losing game, I guess. So you got to laugh it off. It's fucking ridiculous out here. Whether you're putting your,
it's why in the olden days, the court jester was allowed to make fun of. He could say whatever he wants, and the king would never behead him because he could say it in a funny way, you know. And if you can get the truth, you can say anything if you make it funny. You know, there's a lot of shitty comedians that complain about cancel culture, but they're really just bitter that they're actually just not that funny.
yeah,
Because there are plenty of dirty comedians, and there are plenty of comedians who tell all like their humor is very dark and very horrible, but they're fucking funny and they're brilliant, and they tell it in a way that they can get away with it. And that's really hard, and not everybody can do it. So like some people, like it's not about the content nearly as much as the delivery or the vehicle sometimes.
definitely.
People don't really get that like it's not, people don't want to admit that like it's not what you're saying, it's you know, you're the problem.
Absolutely.
Like you're not like,
It's hard to admit that. It's hard to take an introspective
that, like,
look.
the problem isn't that the joke is not funny. The problem is that you're just a bad joke. You're just bad at it, you know?
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, it's the same thing with the music too. We could sit here and be like, the scene doesn't love me or whatever. But, you know, if you release music at the end of the day and it's heard by people, like what more are you asking for? You know, you want to be the biggest thing.
If you put it out, like you know, the way I always looked at it is like any gig that I played, like if I can convince 10 people out there to get on board, if I play enough shows, that's 100 people, and that quickly becomes 1,000 people. It's like you don't have to please everybody all the time.
No.
That's way harder to do unless you're, you know, like I've tried writing pop music. It's hard. Yeah. People think that top 40 music is like the easy way out. That is so not true at all.
If it comes natural, then do it. You know what I mean? Very
difficult. And that scene and culture is way more cutthroat than whatever this the silly underground music.
We promote expressing.
Like, this underground culture is like people can make, you know, people are buying houses off of underground music. Like it's very cool that this culture has been able to get so big and yet still be ignored by mainstream culture. Some people don't like it. I kind of like it.
That's true. It's still in its like infancy almost. We almost won't, you know, when things get too big, they lose some of their. If we think it's bad now, what happens when this is the pop music? You know, if this does become that kind of thing, you know, like the floodgates would be crazy. I mean, the more money and stuff, but you'd also the competition would be crazy. The fucking like everything would be just the level of people would be insane too. You know, we'd have to find a new level.
We really do only need one Skrillex.
That's true. That's true. And look at what that did to us, man. If people are already complaining, all my homies hate Skrillex and shit, you know, like
I look at it as I think he made my job so much easier. You know,
Definitely.
without him and people like that, like I would have had so much more work to do to explain to like my parents what it is that I do.
Very true.
You know, when I tell people that are like, older generations, and I say I make electronic music, and they're like, "Oh, like Dead Mouse?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah.
Like
Fuck it.
I don't need to break it down to them, but like that's enough of a gateway for people like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I think um I used to be like a more of a naysayer, and I'm sure I catch myself naysaying all the time. But like, especially with people like that, I think they did me and all my friends a huge favor. They made our jobs so much easier by cracking that wall open to the mainstream market. Where like
Definitely. Yeah. And
you
I
don't
mean,
have to do as much explaining. That like
nah. No, no, to all the Uber drivers that ask you what you're in town for, it's like, yeah, I make techno, fuck it. Whatever. Whatever's the easiest answer here instead of
nobody complains about laptop music anymore.
nah, nah.
Nobody's being like, oh, you're not a real musician. Like that argument was tired 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
now
nobody's saying it.
every band has one guy with their every band, even if they're not an electronic band, has a guy with a laptop, whether they're on stage or behind the stage.
Even if it's just mastering their music, it's electronic music now. You put it through a fucking VST or some
Well,
shit.
like
Fuck it.
even regular bands will have like an Ableton guy
Oh
that's
yeah,
off
yeah,
stage, like running shit. It's
definitely.
like it's a part of everything now. Like
Yeah.
whether anyone wants to admit it or not.
Hey man, we're just putting labels on these things and kind of just separating ourselves. Regardless, it's music, whatever. Everything's got an 808 or a fucking kick drum in it now. It doesn't matter. Like it's kind of stupid. We're all just finding a reason to argument and separating ourselves. Meanwhile, we're just trying to get back to shows, bro. I think we're all just
Yeah, exactly.
trying to get back. But yeah, man. I mean, I know you said you could stay for an hour, and we've been going for like an hour 45 now too. So I don't know if you wanna yeah, do the dippity, but you've given us like more than enough time, a great conversation, and a nice little look inside your project and your
This
mind.
was fun. I enjoyed this a lot, and the presentation is just is great.
Hey, thank you, man. We had a couple more too. We got the studios
Definitely
and
gonna
shit.
make me step my game up a little bit on my live streams that I
Hey.
do myself.
Well, we could always get you back here, do some fucking collab stream or something. I'm gonna be tuning into your exercise shit too. So whatever else you got going on, if it's live music or what.
That's definitely just cracking the surface. I'm gonna be trying to do some more video game stuff, and definitely trying to tie in video game stuff with making music. I've wanted to. I talk about like Donkey Kong and old school like Mario and Koji Kondo, people who did the composition for stuff like that, and I'd love to like do some situations where I will play those games live and then try and like compose music inspired by that kind of stuff, because that is kind of what I do. I could definitely see myself playing and composing music for a live stream. Just for me, it's the sound design stuff that is, I just don't feel like that the way I do that is just not that entertaining to just watch me do, unless I sort of made that like the point where this is going to be some like experimental shit. Because like I used to do that too before I was Supercilious. I made noise music, and I wore like a bloody panda mask, and I called myself Pandemonium, and I literally had like a dozen samplers all loaded up with like animal sounds that were running through like guitar distortion pedals, and running mixers back into themselves and using feedback as oscillators. And it was just so intentionally alienating that like it was there was a time where it was fun to see like how quickly I could clear a room. But I'm not 17 anymore. That's not really that fun.
That's
Now when
pretty
people
funny,
are paying
though.
money to see you.
That's pretty funny though, man, and I'm pretty hyped to hear that it's always been like a unique path for you too, whether it be the magic, whether it be the yo-yo. I mean, I was doing scootering as a kid too, and like you said, like seeing some of your peers be the people now, like
Yeah, do you have ankle scars?
bro, ankle scars, man. Like, dude, I freaking found this guy on YouTube. He used to be the guy, like Scooter John. He's the guy now. He's the scooter guy. You know, he's got a Tesla in the back. I'm like, damn, he's fucking killing it, bro. So
Hey, that's what I'm saying, dude. Niches is riches.
yeah, man. That, I mean, you've been dropping like one-liners on us like a motherfucking like bombs today, bro. I think I'm gonna be living with a lot of these quotes like tattooed on me.
Thank you, Katie. She just posted my my Twitch page.
Perfect. Yes.
To piggyback off of yours.
No. I was gonna ask too. I typed in Supercilious and he only had 17 followers. I don't know if there's somebody who's jacking your name or what.
So since my Twitch stream is trying to be a bit more video game focused, it's under the name Mages because Mages was taken, which is a bit of a Final Fantasy reference.
Okay, all right. I play WoW, so Mages, you know, it's a reference to WoW too.
You get it?
Fuck it, yeah. Nah, yeah, but we'll keep an eye on you for. You said next week is you making your stream and return?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And the Super S is his website for apparel. He's got funny shirts galore. The shirt that he's wearing right now, Live, Laugh, Love, Limp Bizkit. He's got a bunch of other good ones, a lot of meme-related stuff. And like he said, man, he's got an album coming around fall, hopefully prospectively around fall. He's got streams coming up next week. And, you know, just check him out on SoundCloud. He's got an album that's re-releasing this month, you said?
Yeah, I believe so. We're gonna launch the pre-sale link.
Okay.
These vinyls take a long time to produce, especially now that so many people are trying to make them. These companies are a bit backlogged, but the company that I'm working with, I believe it's Deep Grooves out in UK, and we picked them because they're the most eco-friendly. And vinyl production is really shitty for the environment. It's very chemical intensive. So they use a lot of they use like a lot of recycled vinyl. They do a lot more like natural processes and use recycled cardboard for the packaging. And I'm just trying to do, you know, what little I can when something is so, like, you know, if the option is available to do something like in a slightly less destructive manner, why not?
Why not? Yeah. If, you know, makes you stand for something too, bro. You know, like your brand. I think people will like getting behind something like that too. You know, it's not just a unconscious dude.
It's still producing something, so it's not.
Yeah.
I can't call it good for the environment. It's not as bad, you know.
Yeah. Hey, we'll give you props where it's due, though, man. You did the research, bro. You know, took the extra time, and we appreciate that. We appreciate a recycling king. You know, we like that. So yeah, man. I thank you for spending like almost 2 hours with us, man. I'd love to have you back. Maybe we'll listen to some music next time, or maybe when your fucking album comes out.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'll get back on when I have some tunes or some little samples I can preview.
We'll be looking forward to it too, man. No, seriously, and more memes on the horizon, the Twitch streams. So
more
yeah.
Memes. There'll always be more memes.
Always, you know, at the very least, you got some content from this guy meme wise. So yeah, man. I seriously, once again, thank you again. Spending like 2 hours with us, bro. You're a G. Look forward to where the music is going, and you know, just where you end up too, man. Because you seem like you'll fall on your feet, regardless, creatively, anytime.
Thank you,
know?
Man. I appreciate that.
Of course, dude. So,
yeah, we'll see what the future holds for all of us. It's a weird world.
A little scary, but hey, fuck it. We got your memes to guide us through.
Yep, new day, new meme.
All right, my guy. Hey, thanks again.
Thank you.
Peace, brother.
Take it easy.
Hey, you too. Okay. All right, guys. So he said he had to go in an hour. We kept him there for an hour 45. So sorry we didn't get to get any music in, but you know, sometimes the conversation just fucking flows naturally.